G'day, I'm Regan from Pool Systems. Today we're going to be talking about pool lighting and retrofitting existing pool lights. We are joined today by Greg from Spar Electrics.
Afternoon.
One of the industry leaders on new pool lighting and also replacing existing pool lighting. Thanks for coming today, Greg.
No problems at all. Thanks for having me.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely.
And talk a bit more about Spar Electrics and who they are and what they do?
Sure. So, Greg Cox, Regional Sales Manager up here in Queensland. A little bit about Spar Electrics. So, been in the industry for 49 years. Our current owner's been 20 years, just ticked over 20 years. Manufactured wholly and solely in Dandenong, Victoria, so Australian owned and Australian made. We have staff of about 80 people across the board nationally, and we've started making our way into overseas markets, up to into America, into Europe and other areas. So certainly proudly Australian owned and Australian made.
Yeah. That's awesome. Just before we get into everything today around the lighting, I think it's really important that we note that for the end consumers and the customers that water and electricity don't mix, so they should always consult a professional before carrying out any sort of repairs on pool lighting. All right, Greg, so getting right into it, when it comes to replacing the existing pool light, obviously the first step is to identify what light is there. Are there any tips, tricks or resources that are out there that the end users and technicians can use to identify the pool light?
So basically, as you can imagine, Regan, there's multiple different models and shapes and sizes of pool lights out there. So what I always suggest to the guys is we've got a lot of information on our website, on the Spar Electrics website, where you can identify your light. If that is a little bit too difficult, or what I often say to techs, is to also take a photo of the light and share it with yourself or with me. We've got a tech team in Melbourne that will break down that light and identify what that actual light is and what the replacement requirement is, to try and make it as easy as process to rectify any mistakes that could potentially happen out on site. Yeah,
no, that's perfect. And I can talk from personal experience that the Spar Electrics team in Dandenong have been great with helping identify existing lights and the best solution to replace them. All right, so when it comes to replacing the light, so we've chosen the right light. So say we're using a GKRX, it's not just about replacing the light, there's also the existing cable off the previous light, and then also the transformers there, because they're not all made equally. We used to use a lot of halogen lights, which ran on 100 VA transformers and different voltages, DC, not AC. Can you talk a bit more about the things we have to consider there when replacing these lights?
Certainly. Probably the first thing to do, obviously, is to turn the power off at the transformer. One of the things to always keep an eye out is for corroded cable. Potentially when lights have been in the water for 7, 10, 15 years or more, you will actually get some corrosion through that cable as well. So check your cable, make sure that it's a clean cable. Also check your voltage after you've checked your cable, check your voltage coming out of your transformer, which is very important. If you're not getting the correct amount of voltage, you're not going to get any light that's going to be able to work on that. The size of the cable as well. So our lights will actually come with 4 different glands in there, which will be suitable for all different shapes and sizes of cable. So there's no cable that's out there that won't be compatible with working with one of our retro lights.
No, that's perfect. And just touching more on the Spar Electrics retro lights, so the GKs come in a multi-voltage, so they are a 12 to 36 volt, whereas your EM and WNs are a single 12 volt only.
Correct.
All right, Greg, so when the tech's out there and they're identifying which light is the best replacement for the light in the pool, what are some things they need to consider and what helps them make that decision?
Sure. Firstly, I suppose there's a couple of different ranges, as you mentioned earlier, Regan, in our range. So our GK is a surface mounted light, so obviously the tech would have to know whether it's a surface mounted light or a niche light, to eliminate those to start with. And then concrete or fiberglass is very important as well, because again, in different models, to whether it's going to suit a fiberglass pool or a concrete pool, and then also your colour, whether you're after just a single colour, a tri-colour, or a multi-plus colour.
Yeah, perfect. So tech's out on site, concrete pool, surface mount light there, they would go for a GKRX and then colour depending on what the consumer wants.
Correct.
Yeah, awesome.
With our GK as well, it comes with a couple of different plates, so a plate A and a plate B, which will suit your fiberglass or your concrete pool as well.
Yeah, perfect. And those plates have a bunch of different holes in them designed to line up with pre-existing brackets there that cover many models. And if they don't line up, you can always sort of make your own holes as well.
Correct.
All right, that's perfect. You know, talking about the retrofits, when we talk about brand new pools, what are some of the things that the builders need to consider and the customers need to consider when it comes to choosing the right new light option for their pools?
Sure. So basically there's some points that they certainly need to take into play is the positioning of the pool, where opposed to where the house is or where the outdoor entertainment area is, especially in Queensland. Obviously, a lot of people spend a lot of time outdoors. You don't want to be sitting at the barbecue with the light shining directly in your face. So certainly positioning of the pool to the al fresco, how many lights you actually want in that pool. So depending on shape and positioning of lights to get your maximum coverage of your lights. Again, whether it's concrete or fiberglass, and then I suppose to the point where the consumer, whether they want a multicoloured light or whether they want a single coloured light. One of the other offers that we do within Spar Electrics as well is we have a team in Melbourne that will actually design a light or light design a new swimming pool for a builder or your consumer as well, just so we make sure that we get the full coverage and the maximum output of the lights of what the customer wants.
Yeah, that's awesome. So talking more about the retro range, so it's great to replace the light, but there's a lot of control systems out there, automation systems like your Halos, your Dontex, Ascons. You know, how is the consumer or technician going to be sure that the light they're replacing is going to be compatible with the control system? Sure.
So I suppose, again, Spar Electrics, all we do is manufacture swimming pool lights. We have to make sure that what we manufacture is going to work with, as you said, with all those multiple different controllers that are out there in the marketplace. So we've set up, or our engineers have set up programs within our lights where you can actually, it's a time and sequence that you can actually run through the different colours to actually select either the Pentair and TeleTouch or your Connect 10, your Halo system, etc. So we've got it built into the actual light itself. Again, that program's available on our website should the technician get called out on site to actually work through the sequences of the colours to pre-program for all your different automation out there in the marketplace. So our little DC light, which is our argon light. We've now manufactured, because as you said, Regan, it's the Halo Claw is a DC controller for their swimming pool light. So for your pools that have only got the one light, we've now manufactured a DC light that'll be compatible to work with the Halo Claw. Anything else Halo, so like your Halo Light 2s and 4s, which are quite popular out there, our everyday standard light will work with those, our AC lights. And it's just a matter, again, of programming the lights to make it work with that controller, with the Halo controller.
All right, Greg, so with cost of living, consumers are obviously becoming more conscious about the products they're selecting and their power usage. Is there anything you can tell us about your lights in terms of power consumption, how they compare to what we used to use?
Sure, absolutely. So halogen lights, which were around many, many years ago, they just used to draw power. You turn your pool lights on, you see your kitchen lights dull. You cut that.
Leaving
that. So now, obviously, with the new LEDs coming out, so it's a bit of a chart to work out, Regan, to be honest. So your wattage in and your lumens to what lumens that'll actually produce. So again, with being able to manufacture this product ourselves, we're able to control the amount of wattage, but to get maximum lumens out there. So anywhere around your 12 watts, which is very, very similar to your downlights. So energy efficient, uses minimal power to get maximum output with light.
Which is awesome. So these lights are using around 10% of what the old halogens used to use, which some of those were drawing up to 150, 200 watts.
Correct.
So quite a substantial power saving there for the consumers.
And they're a brighter light.
They are. With retrofitting, it's obviously a very popular option. Can you talk a bit more about why it's so popular to retrofit?
Sure. So again, I suppose at the beginning we'll mention about all the different styles and models of lights, and especially with China being so heavy in production as well. There's a lot of lights coming over from China. So we need to come up with particular lights that will actually retrofit those pools, because a lot of those manufacturers or those people that bring in the China lights, unfortunately, they're not around forever.
Yep.
So we're left to try and find a light that's going to suit the application.
Yeah.
So we need to provide a service or provide an answer to the consumers that still want that swimming pool light.
Yeah.
And we feel that we've got that covered in our range.
Yeah. So essentially, we see lights that come and go in the industry, and you guys have to pivot and provide
Correct.
solutions to replace those lights for the consumers.
Correct.
The technician or the consumer, they've selected the right light with the help of your team. They're out there to replace it. Now, assuming that the pool builder has left enough cable with the existing light to get it up and out of the water onto the coping, what are some more tips and tricks that you have that could help the technician or the professional get that light installed?
Sure. So again, I suppose looking at what the application is for starters. So as you said, you've chosen the right light for this instance, for this purpose.
Yep.
Let's say the GKRX, which is our surface mounted lights. So as I said earlier, Regan, so this comes with different size grommets. So depending on what cable the builder's actually installed on their original light, to what cable gland that you actually use. So different size cable glands.
Yep.
Don't want that too loose. You don't want that too tight. So just a nice snug fit.
Yep.
Lanolin. This is lanolin grease, so this is very, very important to put in at the end of it. This keeps and repels all moisture out of where your cable goes.
And just touching on that lanolin grease, another little tip out there for the technicians is during winter, this can be quite firm, and I've seen it pop out the back of the tube a few times. Definitely recommend leaving it in your pocket or putting it on the hood of your engine while you're getting the old light prepared. That warms it up, makes it nice and easy to insert into your plug assembly.
And as Regan said, so your plug assembly here, which is just two screws, 2-point screws, so 2 cables as well. So it's a nice, easy installation. Checking though that you've got power coming through as well.
Yeah, always also crucial for if you're concerned about the existing cable, get an electrician out to run a continuity test on the existing cable before you go replacing that light as well. So we've got the light installed, or we've got the light selected. Now the lighting is 1/3 of the equation. We've got the lighting cable, which we've touched on, and we've also got the transformer. I think what a lot of people fail to realise is that with these ones they are multi-voltage, but other retrofit options they're a 12-volt only. What are some things that they need to consider when looking at the transformers to make the right selection?
Sure. So we've got 3 different types of transformers. We have our quad transformer, which enables up to 4 lights, to be plugged into it.
Yep.
All individually fused. So if you have a problem, obviously it'll pop that fuse that relates to that cable or to that particular light.
Yep.
With your GPO output as well.
Yep.
You've also got your dual cable.
Yep.
Your dual transformer. So again, you've got your 2 points. So for 2 lights, for example, in a swimming pool, or you've got your single one as well. So all of these are all individually fused. Yep. So if there's any ever issues with the pool light or with the cable itself, it'll 9 times out of 10 will pop the fuse first, and that's the first thing to look out for.
Yep. All right, perfect. And then just with the transformers, a lot of the old halogen lights used to use DC transformers. So obviously, if that's the case, they will have to replace the transforming or upgrade it to a new AC transformer from Spiral Electrics. But there is the option there for the customers to use the existing transformers.
Correct.
If they are AC and within the right parameters for the voltage.
Correct.
So just touching more on the transformers here, when talking about quantities of lights, this one will set up to 4, 2 and 1, but in instances where there's more than 4 lights in the pools, these do have the options there to piggyback into each other, so you can run more than 4 lights. We've spoken about other controllers in the market and automation systems. Now, Spiral Electrics actually have their own range of controllers, lighting controllers and also just power outlet controllers. Did you want to talk a bit more about those?
Sure. So our original controller for our lights, again, I suppose going back to halogen days, is a basic on-off controller. So if you wanted blue, for example, you would have to use that remote control to turn it on and off, on and off, on and off, till you got to that preferred colour that you wanted to. So had the 2 channels where you could run an extra blower or some garden lighting, but a very basic remote, similar to your garage remote, where you lift the door up, pop the door down type scenario.
Which is still in production. It's the RM2, and I actually use one to turn on our outdoor TV.
Yep, there we go.
It is quite a nifty product, and it can be used in multiple applications, not just swimming pool lights.
Correct. And then from that we moved up to to the Iris, the RM3, which then gave the consumer choose of colours. So it's an automatic touch. So if you want blue, it's a matter of just pressing blue. It'll automatically go there. So it has all of our static colours, and along with our 4 light shows as well. So by a touch of a button, the consumer could turn on the light show or change colours. You can actually decrease the brightness as well. So for those times where I suppose if that builder does install those lights and it is facing towards the alfresco, you can actually dull it down via this remote. Also got your 2 modes as well, where you can run, as you said, you can do your TV if you wanted to, your garden light or your blower. But a lot more sort of precise, this type of remote, where it's a colour select and you get that colour straight away. Only can be used though with a multi-plus light.
So that's another thing, especially with pool builders. There are, when you're looking at your new build kits, there's a multi-colour and multi-plus. It's only the multi-plus light that will work with the RM3 controllers. Now, when customers are looking at the retros though, they're only multi-plus. So they won't have to worry about making sure they've got the right multi-coloured light there.
Correct. And then from that, we've now just introduced our RM Wi-Fi as well. So basically, I suppose there's a few extra features than what the handset has. Obviously, everybody's got a phone. You've now got scheduling. So probably the biggest destroyer of our lights, the thing that kills them the most or the earliest, is people don't use them. They think they're going to make them last a lot longer by not turning them on. It's actually the opposite effect. So there's now scheduling that's in our RM Wi-Fi. So if you want blue on a Monday night for 2 hours and green on a Wednesday night for 2 hours, you can actually set all those programs up. Again, you've got your 2 channels, so you can have your pool and your garden lights or your spa or your TV for etc. You can share that app as well with family members. So instead of just relying on one remote and the kids lose that, or the batteries are flat, you've got that option as well via sharing the controller or the app with family members as well.
Awesome. Now with the Iris controls, we've got the Wi-Fi and the RM3. So I think it's still crucial that you keep the RM3 because there are some applications where the Wi-Fi isn't a suitable option, isn't it?
Correct. So people that have got poor internet, first off, you can try a booster, I suppose, but depending just how weak that signal is, you potentially could have issues with it being a Wi-Fi issue. Where this product here will actually work up to 50 metres in a straight line of sight. Obviously, if there's a brick wall or garages and that sort of thing in between, it's going to shorten that. But in most times you'll get a longer distance out of this.
Perfect. And I think it is also really important to mention for the consumers trying to set up these products, and it's same with all products that use internet, so your heat pumps, wireless kettles, that you're on the 2.4 gigahertz bandwidth, not the 5G.
Correct, spot on.
All right, Greg, so talking about the range capabilities of the Wi-Fi option, this might come across as a silly question, but does the Wi-Fi need to reach the light or the transformer?
Sure, so basically with our Wi-Fi unit, even with the Iris, but with our controllers, the transformer itself, so the light transformer, actually plugs into our controllers. And that's what's obviously switching then, it's giving power on and off to the actual transformer itself. So those two need to be in the same area.
So the Wi-Fi only has to reach the controller, not the pool light.
Correct.
So now talking about these, they don't have an existing control system there. There's just an old light, old transformer. Can this be something that can be added to an existing pool light?
Absolutely. So again, the retro market in Australia is worth tens of thousands of pool lights. So again, we need to make sure that our controllers, our transformers, our lights, everything is compatible across the retro market. So there's no reason at all why the consumer couldn't upgrade, while they're upgrading their pool light, could certainly switch over to the RM Wi-Fi as well, or even down to the Iris remote as well.
Going back to the cost of living and customers trying to preserve their money, not just on the power, but the longevity of the products is quite crucial. You touched on before the sequencing, so having them come out at certain times to prevent failure. Can you just talk a bit more about why that's really important?
Sure. So as you can imagine, a swimming pool light's in water, so obviously it's surrounded by it. So if you're not turning that light on, you're not generating heat to be able to remove that moisture that might build up behind the screen. So, and ultimately that's what's going to shorten the life of the pool light itself. So by turning that light on, running the schedule as you said through the Wi-Fi system, it'll turn on consistently every week or every day if you wanted to set it up that way, and it'll remove any moisture, which then eliminates the possibility of a shorter life of the swimming pool light.
Yep. I mean, my personal recommendation for these lights is I normally try to run them for at least 2 minutes a day, every day of the week. So I've even seen instances where it's just a single colour on a transformer, and the customer's gone to Bunnings and gotten just a manual outlet timer, and they've set that just come on for an hour a day, and then they can go and bypass that if they want to run it a bit longer.
Sure. So with LED lighting as well, the cost of running them is absolutely minimal. So it's not going to definitely break the bank. Plus you also get the feature in the backyard.
So yeah, the benefit of running it a couple of hours a day definitely outweighs the cost of the power.
Absolutely.
Based on the longevity of the light. When these customers are out there making the decision on what light to go with, what brand, what option, what are some really important things that customers need to keep in mind when making that decision?
Sure. I think now, Regan, with obviously Google available to everybody out there, do your research, have a look what's I suppose the leader in the market. Have a look for a brand that's got strong backing, so strong sales support after sales. You know, at some stage you might need a technician to come out on site to assist or to replace. So make sure that they have got that backup service. My eyes, I think Australian owned, Australian made is something that we should all be looking for. It certainly helps this country, but also a brand that's strong in the marketplace.
Yeah, of course. No, I think it is very important for the end consumers to do their research, and not only that, but reach out to their local professionals, the local service techs, the local pool shops, and ask for their advice.
Correct.
Because you know they can go on eBay and they may be able to find a light that may look more cost effective, but in the long run it may not be as beneficial for them as they may think.
Absolutely.
And it could also be quite potentially dangerous using a light that hasn't been tested to Australian standards.
Correct. And I think that's the important part is, as I said, you know, there's a lot of product or a lot of lighting that's coming in from overseas, from China predominantly, which will cause some issues if it's not wired up correctly.
And I'm sure a few years down the track you guys will have some more retrofit options for those lights.
Absolutely.
All right, well I'd really like to thank Greg from Sparrow Electrics for joining us today and imparting his knowledge on the pool lighting and sharing all his wisdom with us. Any final words?
No, I think just again we're here to support any technician. Even consumers are more than welcome to call us through as well. Obviously pool systems themselves, you know, you've got a lot of knowledge within your branches as well, so lean on us. Techs, happy to always go and support people out on site as well should they get stuck installing their first light, but certainly back up. We're here to help everybody.
Awesome. We really appreciate you joining us today. Just a final reminder for the consumers out there and even the pool guys, water and electricity do not mix, so please consult an expert or a qualified person when carrying out repairs and installs on lighting. But yeah, that concludes today's Tech Talk episode. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.